Hey, welcome to the Spector Creative channel with me, Scott, Toy Guru Neitlich. See, that's me. I don't usually put me in the videos, but that is me playing with Star Wars toys because I've worked on Star Wars toys. I've gotten to make toys in the toy industry, which was a huge honor. And I'm also a big collector. I collect toys. I collect lots of toys. I still have some of my toys from when I was a kid, and I've kind of supplemented that with toys I've gotten as an adult. And the one toy collection that I really go the deepest on is Star Wars. And what I go deepest on in Star Wars tends to be 3 3/4 figures. What can I say? I've been collecting them since 1995, starting with the new Chewbacca from Power of the Force 2, up through whatever was released last month or is on pre-order now. I love decorating my office with them. I have sort of dioramas set up all over my office, sort of themed in different ways. And because I don't have room for all of my Star Wars figures on display, I tend to keep most of them in little toolboxes in my back part of my office. But the cool thing is I can get to any figure I want from the last 25 years anytime. Each drawer has the figure and its accessory. What can I say? Obsessive compulsive, right? And as all collectors who are obsessive compulsive know, we like to make our own rules when it comes to collecting action figures so that we can follow them and really justify whether or not we're going to buy something. And with so much Star Wars product out there, well, I needed rules myself, and that's why I tended to limit myself to original trilogy action figures in the 3 3/4 scale. Yes, I break this a lot, but I don't feel obsessive about getting everything if it's not in these rules. I mean, obviously I do buy 6-inch figures, and I buy figures that are not from the original trilogy. I mean, Mandalorian tends to be a weak spot for mine, and I've gotten more than one Mandalorian action figure, and not just all of them of Mando. But hey, what can I say? There are cool things of Star Wars that are still coming out, despite things that weren't as cool. But 3 3/4 and original trilogy is really where my heart is with collecting, and like I said, I have every single figure that's been released since 1995. You can see the other videos on this channel where I have the whole history of them. And lately, this segment of Star Wars toys has been a little desolate, a little dry. Now, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, saying like, oh, where are my Star Wars toys? Because we've gotten quite a lot. But as completists, still waiting for, all 96 vintage figures from Kenner to be released in the modern line, waiting is a tough part, and there are things legitimately to complain about. And recently, a lot of the vintage 3 3/4 collection figures have been re-releases. Some of them repaints, some of them just straight up releases of a previous figure just on a slightly different card back. Or figures that never got released on a vintage card back now being released on a vintage card back. And for completists who like to have figures on package, this is great. But for those of us who open our figures and just keep the card backs in some box somewhere, actually I think it's in my garage, well, it's a lot like chasing one's own tail and you're buying the same figure over and over again with a slightly different paint op. And hey, what can I say? Again, obsessive compulsive. Some of the figures that have been released have had nice upgrades. The Princess Leia for Endor that was recently at Walmart, the colors of her poncho are much better. Not to mention the face deco is a huge improvement. But other figures are just the same. And a lot of the new tooling, meaning new characters, new parts, tends to lately go to things like Mandalorian. And granted, Mandalorian is really cool. I'm talking about the show, not necessarily the character, and absolutely deserves to have new figures. And some people even wonder why there haven't been more figures of the Mandalorian, and we've seemed to have gotten, sort of limited, or at least they've trickled out, only now catching up to Season 1 and just looking at Season 2. And part of that, obviously, is because everything Mandalorian is on fire. It's sort of the coolest thing for Star Wars we've had in a long, long, long time. Yes, I also remember Ewok Adventure and the Caravan of Courage. Well, the thing is, Lucasfilm does tend to keep Hasbro a little bit in the dark. And it's not that they're deliberately doing this to be mean. I mean, obviously, in the past, Lucasfilm and Hasbro have worked very closely together to the point that Hasbro was able to produce figures that even revealed plot points about movies, like, spoiler alert, Anakin gets his arm cut off, and the action figure that came out before the movie was released had this feature. We've also seen things like in Revenge of the Sith, the color-changing Anakin Skywalker blade reflecting what was going to happen in the script. But Other spoilers, like, say, the Razor Crest getting blown up, sorry, spoiler alert for something that happened last year, well, there was a vehicle of it put out right before this happened, and one has to wonder how much Hasbro and Lucasfilm are connecting on these plot points. Now, I didn't get a vintage Razor Crest. I put my money elsewhere. Hey, what can I say? I'm also a completist with X-Men figures and Marvel Legends. But hey, I like my Sentinel, and I kind of think the choice was the right one to make.
You have chosen wisely.
Okay, so where am I going with this? The thing is, we are getting some really cool toys for the first time in the vintage collection that are from the original trilogy collection and newly tooled. These were all revealed recently in Hasbro's Fan First Wednesday, and up first was Emperor Palpatine, or as we knew him in the vintage era, the Emperor. He was cool when he was just the Emperor. Now, this is a figure that we were teased with a few months back because he is going to be at HasCon this fall with a deluxe package and a throne and a window and a box of candy canes that he keeps under his desk. But it's obvious he was going to get re-released as a single card. Hasbro does this all the time. They have figures for conventions and then follow those up with a single carded release. And while this can be frustrating for completists or even people who have gone all the way to go to these conventions and get a souvenir only to find out the same figure is now available at mass retail in a different package, I understand the frustration because, like I said, I'm a collector too. But I've also been a toy maker, and from a corporate standpoint, I understand why. So to explain a little bit, all toy product are made with tools. That's these giant metal things, these molds, kind of like the old molds we had for Play-Doh back in the day. And as all medical professionals will tell you, you want to amortize the cost of any investment in business. And no, I'm not just showing off that I'm now getting my MBA at UNCG. I've actually been aware of this because I've been working in business for the last 25 years. And when you have a sunk cost, when you pay a lot for something, tooling can cost up to $100,000 for a full figure, like one brand new figure. And this production cost, it's a one-time fee, and now you own that tool. When you go into production, you're not paying for the tool, you're paying for the raw materials that go into the figure. And when you're dealing with a toy, with an action figure, those raw materials are things like plastic, which comes in different colors, and obviously paint, because you have to paint details on that figure, and then labor, because you have to pay for the product to be made. These costs have to pay sort of like rent every single time you make a figure. The tooling cost is a one-time investment, and once you have that, once you've invested that $100,000 in a tool, well, you want to get it to pay out for you so that you could use it over and over again. And this is why companies re-release figures, do new decos, because it helps amortize the cost over multiple SKUs as opposed to putting it all behind one SKU. Now, tooling does wear out over time, and sometimes you have to retool, but this is why you see so many figures that Hasbro does, especially things for conventions, where they just get plussed up or put in a unique package, or you pair a newly tooled figure with something that's already been tooled, or, again, just new paint, new deco, new packaging. Which is why I'm so excited we are getting newly tooled figures from the original trilogy for the first time in like a long time. It's been a long time since we've got 100% newly tooled figures. I mean, come on, look at that Bib Fortuna. Look at those hands. That is just a beautiful looking figure. I'm normally not a huge fan of soft goods on 3 3/4, but darn. I mean, the old Bib Fortuna we had in the modern line, starting with Power of the Force 2, 1996, he hasn't aged that well. I mean, he did get a new paint job in the, I think, original trilogy collection re-release, and it spruced him up a little bit. And then we got a newly tooled Bib Fortuna in the Saga collection, which, again, was a big improvement over the original version from Power of the Force 2, but even he's kind of showing his age and, falling apart a little bit. So getting a brand new one that's fully tooled, like not just like that Gonk droid we got that got one new part, we're getting 100% tooled figures and multiple ones. And it's been a long time since we've gotten this. So I'm really, really excited. Does this mean this is what we can look forward to for the foreseeable future? Hopefully. I mean, look, we're even getting, a Cantina band member that's going to be fully tooled and new. I mean, gosh, the last time we got a Cantina character was Mosep, and this was back in 2015. I mean, the last time we got a fully tooled Cantina character. We used to get Cantina characters every year, a couple of them. So yeah, the drought has been a while, and that's why I'm really excited to see so much tooling investment. The last time we actually had a Cantina band member, I mean, this was one of the first figures in Power of the Force 2. Well, not one of the first, but, it definitely one of the first 20, I guess, if you will. I don't know. Go watch my series. But yeah, this was back in 1996. And while this figure has gotten re-released over the years, the tool has remained the same. There's some soft goods over him and some new paint, but same basic body, same amortization of the tooling with this release. So yeah, I'm excited. So when you see figures that are straight up re-releases, it's because they're helping to pay for the new tooling. You have to sort of, spread it out so that the existing tooling helps pay for the new tooling. And that's why you get so many re-releases. But I'm excited. We're definitely getting a lot. And come on, we're getting Lobot. I mean, Lobot love is the best kind of love. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it was a good look at why we're getting new stuff and why old stuff gets re-released a lot. It all comes together in the great cycle of life that is toy making and business 101. Share this video, like it, subscribe, all those things. It definitely helps us out a lot, and leave your comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.